This is class 9 CBSE Economics Chapter 1 The Story of Village Palampur Part 2.
Farming in Palampur. Under this topic we have 7 questions. The 7 questions answer only the explanation of farming in Palampur. The land is fixed. Farming is the main production activity in Palampur because Palampur is a village, so main production activity is farming only, their livelihood also farming, agriculture. 75% of the people who are working are dependent on farming for their livelihood. So in Palampur village, the total population in that 75% of the people who depends on farming. They could be farmers or farm laborers. The well-being of these peoples is closely related to production on the farms. But remember that there is a basic constraint, basic restriction in raising farm production because the land is fixed. The land area under cultivation is practically fixed. Since 1960 in Palampur, there has been no expansion in land area under cultivation. By then, some of the wastelands in the village had been converted to cultivable land. So after that, some of the wastelands they changed or they converted to cultivable land. There exists no further scope to increase farm production by bringing new land under cultivation. Because in Palampur it's a small village, the land also fixed there. Even though some of the wastelands they converted to cultivable land, so for production there is no scope to increase their cultivation land. The standard unit of measuring land is hectare. Though in the villages you may find land area being discussed in local units such as Biga Guinta. In Palampur, in north side villages and all, they use the local units to measure the land areas like Biga Guinta. 1 hectare equals the area of a square which one side measuring 100 meters. So square one side measuring 100 meter means the total meter square is 100 into 100, that is 10,000 meter square. Can you compare the area of 1 hectare field with the area of your school ground? Next one. Is there a way one can grow more from the same land? Yes. There are 2 ways. One is multiple cropping, another one is green revolution. Okay. In the kind of crops grown and facilities available, Palampur would resemble a village of the western part of the state of Uttar Pradesh. Actually, the kind of crops and facilities available, it seems to see that a Palampur is a resemble of a village which is in a western part of Uttar Pradesh. All land is cultivated in Palampur. No land is left idle. So all the lands are cultivating. No land is left idle. There is no waste land. During the rainy season, Kharif, you already learned in your younger classes, there are 3 seasons of cultivation: Kharif, Rabi and Zaid. So during rainy season, Kharif farmers grow jowar and bajra. These plants are used as cattle field. So jowar and bajra plants used as cattle field. Cattle feed. It is followed by cultivation of potato between October and December. After cultivation of jowar and bajra, the third cultivation plant is potato. That also cultivating in the between October and December. In the winter season, Rabi. Winter season, Rabi fields are sown with wheat. Rabi cultivation means wheat cultivation. From the wheat produced, farmers keep enough wheat for their family's consumption. For their own family, they are keep some of the wheat and rest of the surplus and sell the surplus wheat at the market at Raiganj. Raiganj is a big village near the Palampur. A part of the land area is also devoted to sugarcane, which is harvested once every year. Sugarcane is a 1-year crop. So a part of that cultivation land they allotted to harvest the sugarcane. Sugarcane in its raw form means as such is sugarcane or as jaggery, is sold to traders in Shahpur. Shahpur is a small town near the Palampur. The main reason why farmers are able to grow 3 different crops in a year in Palampur due to the well-developed system of irrigation. So why they are cultivating the 3 different crops in a year means due to the well-developed system of irrigation. Electricity, already we learned electricity facilities available in Palampur, came yearly to Palampur. Its major impact was to transform the system of irrigation. Persian wheels were till then used by farmers to draw water from the wells. This is a old traditional method. Persian wheels they tied with that tavelos or by the human itself. They draw the water from the deep well to irrigate the small fields. People saw that the electric run tube wells could irrigate much larger areas of land more effectively. So small areas are irrigating through the Persian wheels and large areas irrigating through the tube wells in Palampur. The first few tube wells were installed by the government. Soon, however, farmers started setting up private tube wells. As a result, by mid-1970s, the entire cultivated area of 200 hectares in Palampur was irrigated. Not all villages in India have such high levels of irrigation. Apart from the riverine plains already rivers are available. So irrigation is highly possible there. So apart from riverine plains, coastal regions in our country are well irrigated. In contrast, plateau regions such as Deccan Plateau have low levels of irrigation. Of the total cultivated area in the country, that is India country, less than 40%. How much? Less than 40% is irrigated even today. So 40% only irrigation facilities are there. In the remaining areas, farming is largely dependent on rainfall. They are depending upon the monsoon rainfall. To grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the year, so during a year, in the particular year, grow more than one crop, so multiple crops on a piece of land is known as multiple cropping. So to grow more than one crop on a piece of land during the single year is known as multiple cropping. So one way is to increase the cultivation is multiple cropping. It is the most common way of increasing production on a given piece of land. All farmers in Palampur grow at least 2 main crops, or jowar, baja, or wheat, or sugarcane, whatever else 2 main crops they grow. Many are growing potato. So potato as the third crop in the past 15 to 20 years. Past 15 to 20 years. for the higher yield. For higher yield. Yield is measured as crop produced on a given piece of land during a single season. In a single season, the cultivation, total cultivation measured in a piece of land is known as yield. Till the mid 1960s, the seeds used in cultivation were traditional ones. So traditional method of cultivation only they used with relatively low yields. So production also very less. Traditional seeds means it's not tested in the laboratory. It's not HYV seeds. They don't know whether the seed will be yield high grains or not. In their cultivation of the previous crop, they kept 2 or 3 sacks of grains as a seed. That one is known as traditional seeds. Needed less irrigation, but traditional seeds need less irrigation. Less water is enough for the cultivation. Farmers used cow dung and other natural manure as fertilizers. So farmers used cow dung and other natural manures as fertilizers. So there is no need of buy any fertilizers. All these were readily available with the farmers who did not have to buy them. The Green Revolution in the late 1960s. So another way of increase the production is Green Revolution. Introduced the Indian farmer to cultivation of wheat and rice using high yields varieties. That means HYV V's of seeds. Okay, why wheat and rice means that is the staple food for India. Compared to the traditional seeds, the HYV seeds promised to produce much greater amounts of grain on a single plant. As the result, the same piece of land would now produce for larger quantities of food grains than was possible earlier. HYV seeds, however, needed plenty of water. So HYV seeds is tested seeds laboratory. It's giving the promise to produce higher, greater amounts of grains in a single plant, and also it needs plenty of water and also chemical fertilizers and pesticides to produce best results Higher yields were possible only from a combination of HYV seeds. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh were the first to try out the modern farming method in India. We already know that wheat bowl of India is Punjab and Haryana, Uttar Pradesh is sugar bowl of India. Okay, so they tested the modern farming method in Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh. The farmers in these regions set up tube wells for irrigation and made use of HYV seeds, chemical fertilizers and pesticides in farming. Some of them bought farm machinery like tractors and threshers, which made plowing and harvesting faster. So tractors for plow, threshers for harvesting made that one is as a faster. They were rewarded with high yields of wheat. In Palampur, the yield of wheat grown from traditional varieties was 1600 kg per hectare. In traditional method, they cultivated 1300 kg per hectare. But with the HYV seeds and other chemical fertilizers, that is modern farming, that yield went up 3200 kilogram, that means 3200 kg per hectare. So see the difference between the traditional yield as well as the modern yield. There was a large increase in the production of wheat. Farmers now had greater amounts of surplus wheat to sell in the markets. Now, sell in the markets. Next one is, will the land sustain? Because we are started to follow the modern farming, irrigation also doing, we are using that chemical fertilizers, pesticides, etc. So will the land sustain? No. Land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be careful in its use. Scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. In many areas, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increase the use of chemical fertilizers. So in many years, if we follow the green revolution, so surely we lose the soil fertility because chemical fertilizers we are using more. Also continuous use of groundwater, because irrigation through the tube wells we are irrigating the water. So ground well for tube well irrigation has led to the depletion of the water table. So the loss of soil fertility. Second one is depletion of the water table. Environmental resources like soil fertility and groundwater are built up over years because it takes many years to rebuild. Once it's destroyed, it is very difficult to restore them. So once we destroyed that, it is very, very difficult to restore them. We must take care of the environment to ensure future development of agriculture. Next, chemical fertilizers provide minerals which dissolve in water and are immediately available to the plants. But these may not be retained, because chemical fertilizers, it may not be retained soil for long. They may escape from the soil and pollute groundwater. They can go inside, pollute groundwater, or washed out and mixed into the rivers and lakes. So it's pollute that water. Chemical fertilizers can also kill bacteria and other microorganisms in the soil. So chemical fertilizers can also kill bacteria and microorganisms in the soil. This means sometime after their use, the soil will be less fertile than ever before. The consumption of chemical fertilizers in Punjab is highest in the country. The continuous use of chemical fertilizers has led to depletion of soil health. So continuous use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides is degrading the soil health. Punjab farmers are now forced to use more and more chemical fertilizers because they already lost the fertility of the soil. But even though they want to produce the production, that means cultivation, for that they use the more and more chemical fertilizers and other inputs to achieve the same production level. This means cost of cultivation, because they want to buy the chemical fertilizers and pesticides. For that, the cost of cultivation, that is input of cultivation or investment of the cultivation, is rising very fast. So in next next video, we will learn the rest of the topics. Until then, thank you.